Duncan McPherson joins me now. Stallion tender time, Duncan, and you alluded to me before. You're a little bit like Santa Claus, mate.
Yeah, Father Christmas. We've got we've got a bit of red and white in our logos and our promo material. But no, in all seriousness, Aldebaran Park's always been a sponsor of Stallion tenders around in Australia, particularly in Victoria, and we also sponsor in South Australia and Western Australia when asked. So, and Victor Harbour as well. So we spread it wide, and I do feel like Santa Claus sometimes, but then that's what it's all about, promoting the trotting gate to the Southern Hemisphere.
Absolutely, it is. Bort have their Stallion tender. It closes on September 7th, I think it is, and
Yep.
You've been a long time patroniser there. I was talking to Uncle John today. He was alluding to the fact that it's got something to do with you sponsoring the back straight. I don't know if that's right or not, mate, but that's more or less what John was alluding to.
Yeah, no, look, I've always been a supporter of Bort, and as John and the committee at Bort know, I do travel up to their race meetings over the Christmas New Year period, which are very well attended, as we all know. And I think the reciprocation of me looking after them with some Stallion tenders and their great support of Anscog and the Team Teal concept is fundamental to the grassroots of our industry. So can't be happier to sponsor Bort. And other clubs in Victoria, which you well know of, and you might touch on those as we go forward.
Absolutely, but I think it's key that we give both ways, isn't it? If we can all work together, I think our industry will be in a much better place. That's for sure. Swan Hill is the other one, and you've got both your boys lined up there as well. Jared Maloney's got you on board, and you've been contributing to this Stallion tender for a little while as well, mate.
Yeah, look, I think it's important to try and promote trotting in the Sunraysia area. And whilst we know that the herd population up there is not significant, it's great that Mildura and Swan Hill have their Trotters Cups. And I think it's important for Fresh's best stallions, as we call ourselves, with Aldebaran Eagle and, of course, Sky Valley, who's still ranked number 2 as of today in the charts in the stake earnings. And his statistics speak for themselves. So I think it's if we can promote right round Victoria with Vic Bred and Vic Bred Platinum and other initiatives that may be undertaken by Harness Racing Victoria, I think that the Trotters are the way to go. And as we say, fresh is best at Aldebaran Park.
Absolutely, and fresh is best. And the other great one that you have, though, mate, is Hot to Trot. You got to remember that one as well. And the Trotters, there was a trot on just a bit before at Bendigo, 2-year-old Trotters. 6-horse field. I think the last horse may have got beat 10 metres, but they trot 2-1. It's just amazing how they're progressing, the 2-year-old Trotters now, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think, and I've always said, as you know, the business of Aldebaran Park is about internationalisation and globalisation of the sport. And I think that not only have we produced the genetics down here and the stallion opportunities, but I think our horsemen and our rangemen have fundamentally improved at the same time. And I think that we don't give enough credit to our horse people and our participants in our industry. And I think that's what leads me to providing stallion tender opportunities for other people in the industry to have the opportunity to invest in the trotting gate and then ply their trade as they come through. And I think the benefactors of that are not only the participants themselves, but the broader population, because we've got a racing product now. When you're trotting, I think 4 of those horses had already won races at Bendigo tonight, and they're trotting 2-1. And if you'd said that to a lot of stalwarts 10 years ago, they would have laughed at you. So I think that we all should take a bow. And I think we should be really consciously supporting one of the fastest growing herd trotting populations in the world.
I think the great testament to the way the Trotters are going, mate, is that race just there before. We had Chris Finozio beat Jody and Kate across the line, but I think the great thing is Kate was driving for Steve Loftus, who I reckon 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, wouldn't have even envisaged having a trotter. Now he's got a very exciting trotter, and who knows how far he's going to go. And I think that's one of the great things about the way the Trotters are progressing.
Oh, and I think that there's something we need to remember. We've got to be conscious that the lockdown situation we've been in and the regionalised racing has created opportunities for a lot of horses that may not have had that opportunity to compete at the highest level within their zones. And I think this is really exciting if the state of Victoria and the participants and the general population can undertake a duty of care to those around them and ensure the suppression of this pandemic, then one of the benefactors is going to be harness racing, because we're going to be able to put on a product for the general population to not only view but to engage with as a sport that's been resilient through this process. And as I say earlier, credit goes to Harness Racing Victoria and the administration there for keeping us going and keeping us vibrant within the world and the community itself. But to think that we've got the opportunity where we've got all the 2-year-old and 3-year-old and featured trotting races coming up over the next 3 to 4 months that are, they're programmed, but we've got to wait and see how we all roll out of stage 4 and stage 3 restrictions. But I tell you what, the rest of the world's watching us, and we've got trotting sales with various organisations coming up in the new year, and we've got breeding right upon us, and foals are starting to arrive now, and the doorstep's on us. And I think it's a bit like what I say is it's a stairway to heaven, and the trotters are going to take it, and there's going to be no stone unturned in anything that not only Aldebaran Park do, but making sure that we're front and foremost of the trotting gauge in people's minds throughout the state of Victoria and also the state of the world as we export our bedding product around the world again, hopefully over the summer period.
Definitely. There's 2 ways I can go with this. I'll go with number one, and it just might deflate your touch, but it won't really. Bendigo. I'm no longer on the committee at Bendigo, but I'm still very proud and passionate Bendigo person. And you've kindly donated a voucher to the value of $2,000. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but the way this reads to me, it's nearest the pin to the $2,000 is going to actually win this, and it's a breeding voucher that can be used this year.
Yeah, look, the Bendigo came to me, and as you've known, we've sponsored the Aldebaran Park Maori Mile for many years, which has seen international racing opportunities to horses such as Sparkling Success and Johnny Mead and Chris Finozio. And I thought I'd take it a step further this year, whereby we were asked to come on board as a sponsor of the Trotters Cup, which is being moved around due to the restrictions that are there at the moment. But I said to the executive, and Mr. Hendricks from Bendigo rang me earlier this week and said, look, can we start promoting the Stallion tender? And I said, by all means, now's the time where people are making those decisions, and there's been wonderful opportunities for some trainers that have never had those opportunities presented themselves to win races and have success. And the ideology of providing an opportunity to buy into either a muscle stallion or a muscles Yankee stallion such as Sky Valley, who's been right up there over the last 5 to 7 years, just presents itself. And I think it's a great initiative by Bendigo Harness Racing Club and Mr. Hendricks and his committee. And I implore all people to not only support Aldebaran Park, but support your local trotting clubs at the same time. And these stallion tenders are on around the country and around Victoria.
Absolutely. So just so people are aware, this is a voucher to be used at Aldebaran Park to the value of $2,000, and the person who bids the most wins the tender, basically. And effectively, your flagship horse, who just gets undersold every day of the week, Sky Valley, pretty much pays for his service fee, doesn't it?
Yes, and I think that there's some, and I think that there's initiatives going forward with Harness Racing Victoria. That I'm sure that the announcements will be coming thick and fast over the next few weeks, and I think those exciting initiatives that may or may not be on the imminent horizon. Again, the benefactors of these initiatives will be the state, not only the state of Victoria, but also the participants and anyone that's prepared to engage in the breeding of trotters in not only Victoria but also the Southern Hemisphere. I'm
fortunate to be across a few of those things, and I'm not in any way going to say anything. And people can ring me to the cows come home. They will not be finding out. But all I will say is get your head in this stud book. Get the Stallion Guide. It's online now. Do your homework. Start doing it, because next couple of weeks you're going to be that excited about breeding, and I think it's huge. The other thing that I'm wrapped in is the APTS trotting sale. The catalogue's out now. Well, the catalogue's not out now, sorry, but all the horses are out now. There's 41 lots. They're brilliant lots, aren't they? You must be blown away by the amount of stock that you've been able to gather, I suppose is the right way to put it.
Yeah, look, I think that it all goes with the vision of internationalising and globalising the sport. And I think we need to understand where we sit. We are the fastest growing herd population of trotters in the world, and the respect of our product is now second to none. And that's been proven by the results of a lot of export, not only of trotters, but also paces up to the Northern Hemisphere in the recent 12, 18-month period. So we are taken seriously down here. We're also seen as an investment opportunity, because when you actually scale up the value of Group 1 racing down here, either for juvenile or open class horses, we're talking between $400,000 for juveniles single-sex racing, and also up to 1.2, 1.5 million for open class horses over the summer period. So I think there's a reason for being down here. To reply directly to your question about the quality of the animals that are APTS, they're going from strength to strength. I mean, there's stories on the APTS website coupled with that's been revamped, and credit to Harness Racing Victoria for doing so. And I implore everybody to go and have a look at the updated website with the news and the information and the pedigrees that are on there, plus the statistics. And the number of horses that are now achieving $100,000 lifetime earnings that have been purchased for between $4,000 and $10,000 at these trotting sales. That's not to say the trotting sales cheap, but what it's proving is that there's value there if you look hard enough, and the quality of the animals that have been sold over the years is standing the testament to time, which means that the genetics that are in this year's catalogue are just world-blowing, really, mind-blowing and world-class.
And absolutely, and they can compete on the biggest stage, and you can also have a little horse like Fear Not that's close to your heart because you did breed her. She raced from 2. I think she's an 8-year-old now. She's still going round. She's coming up to start number 200 and just loves it. Yeah. And that's what trotting's about. I mean, Glenn and Lyndall have an absolute ball carting that horse around. And anyone knows the Conroy story would say it's just one of the great things about what horses can do. You said there before about this pandemic and depression. A lot of people want to get out there and be aware of what horses can actually do and the difference they can make to your own mental state sometimes.
Yeah, look, and I think that's really important as well. I mean, you've got country people that are investing in the sport. You've got city people investing in the sport. It doesn't matter where your investment's coming from. I think it's important that you can see that there's results coming. And, I mean, there's a good story coming up very shortly. I mean, Kai Valley Kiri, who we bred, she's within $400 of 100,000 as a Group 1 winner, but she's also a mum. And a lot of people don't know that she had 18 months off and she's back racing and she won at Bendigo the other night. Now, if that's the sort of investment in a filly that you're looking for, those fillies are in the catalogue this year. Better believe it or not, but they're there, and all fortune to those who create the purchase money and put their syndicates together and come and see us at the trotting sales.
It's one of the great things about doing things through COVID-19, isn't it? We've both been flicking screens. Brooke rang me before, halfway through. Everyone would have seen that Brooke rang me, but I did decline her. The other part of those good stories is a horse like Utopia, who has created a whole world of attention already, and there's relations to that that will be going through the APTS trotting sale. That's just the catalogue. That's how good the catalogue is.
I think if you look at that 2-year-old catalogue with Utopia and some of the horses that have been running around in the last couple of weeks, plus I'll Fly My Flag, we've got Aldebaran Zeus in there who won his last race by 47 metres or something. I think that the quality of the 2-year-olds that are about to grace the tracks over the next 3 months as graduates of this trotting sale will stand and frank the trotting sale as the sale in the Southern Hemisphere to come and purchase horses from. And I know that the Kiwis are coming, and I know that there's international investors looking at coming down here and purchasing stock out of the catalogue that's been labelled. The pedigrees aren't there, but at least we know which horses are there and who the dams and who the sires are, and credit to HRV for starting to promote the sale early on, because I think that's what sows the seed, particularly in these times where people are looking for an avenue of not only enjoyment but pleasure and experience at the same time. Absolutely.
I do a little show on Sundays called Breed to Succeed, and it's about improving the breed. If anyone enjoyed Nick Hooper's episode, you'll want to go to the APTS site, click on the mares, and go and do your homework that way. It's more fun than picking up a catalogue, I reckon. Then you can you'll knock yourself out silly, that's for sure. There's no worries there at all. Duncan, thank you. Just very quickly, I'll just remind people that we've got the Swan Hill Trotting Tender that closes on September 7 at 5 o'clock, and we've also got the Bort Trotting Club Trotting Tender. It closes on the same day, Monday the 7th of September. I don't have a time for Uncle John's, and I'm not sure about that one, but both close Monday the 7th of September, which will be probably a key date for people to be watching the breeding season, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and look, I thank you for the opportunity to promote not only Aldebaran Park but the Trotting Gate in the public arena, and all credit to those and the participants in our industry who have conducted themselves during this restrictive period and the COVID lockdown in an exemplary manner. And to think that we're an industry that's been able to regionalise, adapt, innovate, show a lot of initiative, and then show the government in particular and the general population that we are a cohesive, caring and health compliant and code compliant industry. I think it's credit to the industry. So, on behalf of Aldebaran Park, and I'm sure everybody actually doesn't acknowledge it, but we should take a pat on the back ourselves as an industry and reward ourselves and reward yourselves by going in the tenders and purchasing a Stallion service. And we look forward to seeing you at Aldebaran Park.
Absolutely, and don't forget the Bendigo voucher. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble for that one. Jimi Hendrix will be ready to wring my neck. Duncan McPherson, thank you very much for joining me. Hot to trot. I'll make sure that's rolling along the bottom the whole time of this video, mate. Don't you worry about that. And fresh is best as well. Thank you very much for joining me, Duncan McPherson, and well done to you for supporting all three clubs, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time and all the best to everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy.